Hello, Joshua Shostak. Good evening. You are the winner of the I'm First on the Scene, the first on the scene of the crime. Good evening and welcome to you all. Tonight we're going to do a little more, we're going to do a little more cheating with physics. So I have optimized this. If you watched my video today, you'll know what this is. Hands up in the chat if you do not know what this is, because then we will have to mock you relentlessly. What I've done is I've optimized my source code. One way to make the transfer faster is to actually activate several transfers in parallel, right? And that has let me increase the rotation rate of these things, right? So we're going to get high rotation rate, we're going to get full tanks getting transferred, and if I launch this, watch what happens here. So no rockets on it or anything. Right? If you remember, I managed to get it up thrust high enough that it would work on Minmus. Right here, well, first of all I'm going to do is I'm going to retract all the panels because I do not want them blowing off. We're going to enable stability control. Going to bring up my Kerbal OS console, and we're going to switch to memory bank. Switch to 0, so it switch to basically the default drive which is available back at mission control. And then we got to run, and I think it's called spin or... Oh, wait a second, you know what I might need to do? Let me just see this. Oh yeah, it's going to run for like 200 iterations, which is fine for Ascent. So we're going to run spin or underscore N5. I've no idea where that name came from, but that's the name we're using. Now, what's going to happen... And this is where it gets fun, right? We're going to get fuel pumped between these things, and it's going to rotate. Oh, wait, I should lock these things in place. So you can watch these numbers as the fuel transfers. Right? Put these here. We're going to bring up the resources, because I'm going to do this without solar panels. Are we ready? Hit return. And off it goes. Yes, I've made this powerful enough to defy even gravity itself. This thing is going to go to the sky. Okay, look at the very strange looking shadow it's leaving behind there. I'm not sure what KOS is built from originally. It's clearly, it's iterated quite a few times. Let's be clear on that. And there are plugins, I think, that let you interface with it using other languages and everything. So Kerbal OS just happens to be exceptionally well supported. So I'm not sure what the acceleration on this is. I don't think it's quite enough to work against Eve. But by that token, I think I could optimize this thing to work. So you see that as this thing goes around... Right, if I watch it, you can watch how the fuel goes out, in, and out. There's a thin line. All the way out by the time it's at the bottom, all the way in by the time it's at the top. So the idea is that one way to think about it is as the mass swings over the top, it has more mass in it as it's swinging across the bottom. That means the centrifugal force it's experiencing is higher, or more correctly, the centripetal force required to hold it in is therefore higher. That means there is a net force pushing upwards. So this is using 4 electrical power per unit, per moment or whatever. It's accelerating at more than 1G, and I am quite happy with this. Let me make that clear. So I'm wondering how high I should get up before I start tilting this over. It is terribly high drag. So that is one thing. The other thing is that it's aerodynamically very stable in one direction, so landing this thing is very hard. Oh yeah, thank you, McThulu. Yeah, and not everyone... I don't expect people to know my birthday. It's one of those ridiculous things. There's a lot of other stuff going on at the time. So yes, we could add a 4th set, right? And that would require the script changing. So right now, if I look at the code, there's basically 2 groups of tanks here, right? And you could do it with 4 sets of tanks and then have 4 different angles at which things happen. You know, I'm going to start turning this thing over, by the way, because I need it to start really kind of going sideways. There we go. Oh, I'm going southwards apparently because I made a mistake. Well, we'll go southwards instead. That'll work. Let's... We're gonna go into... you know what? I should probably go into a proper orbit here. Let's do that instead. Bit of drag here as we're reaching near supersonic speeds. But the thing is stable enough that I should be able to do it. Oh man, look at it. Look at it go! Look at it go upwards and upwards and upwards. Now it's actually picking up speed. The drag at this altitude is insignificant next to the power of my abuse of the laws of physics. It doesn't turn particularly well, incidentally. You'll probably... How are the colliders not tearing it apart? Well, that's because Kerbal Space Program does not compute colliders for parts on the same vehicle. Therefore, it's not computing the colliders on this thing, and they're flying through each other. If you were really a stickler for that kind of thing, you could probably come up with an arrangement which worked correctly. However, I'm not doing that. Okay, from Fürth, Germany. Honestly, we're not very far into the stream at all, and I'm not going to do a huge amount of Kerbal Space Program because, frankly, I spent way too much time making this thing work. But I kind of just wanted to show you all, look, I got this thing working. It's marvelous. It is truly a thing of beauty. You know, Kerbal Space Program used to check for colliders within the same ship, and I believe that Ferrum actually made a mod for people that wanted to re-enable this feature. There we go. 1 kilometer per second. What time to periapse is still about 1 minute, so I'm just going to get this thing flatter. We're going to get there. We are going to get... And the great thing is now, because I've correctly identified my front and rear ones, I can just start it again and I can Control-C the thing anytime we want to make any change. Am I going to play Astroneer? Actually, I'm going to play another game which involves things. I can't turn on Astroneer because I think... You know what? I've just realized that I might need to put something into a window I haven't thought about. I haven't... Astroneer seems a bit... needs to... Astroneer I haven't looked. Just imagine it's a clapper and nothing's clipping. Yeah, they're just bouncing off of each other, right? They're going boop, 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 boop. Right? Right, a second. I can't keep synchronized. I'm looking at it here, and there's basically the video is here, right? And over here, down in the corner, is my preview, and they're slightly out of sync. What is this, a space metronome? Yes, it is exploiting the music of the spheres so that we may fly into space by abusing the laws of physics. We're almost actually at orbital velocity here, you'll notice, from those 200. So I think we get about 3.5 kilometers per second easily from this. Okay, so now we're not quite at our correct velocity, but we can run this when we get there. What I should do is maybe set up a burn to the moon or something. Where should we go to? The moon? We'll just make a fly past to the moon. We could go anywhere on this. Oh, you know, one thing we should do, you'll notice that I used about half of my electrical charge here. I can pop these solar panels out now. So this thing is amazingly efficient, right? We can charge it up and then we can get like several kilometers per second of delta V. So with this, we could land on Tylo, assuming I could make it controllable, because we just took off from Kerbin, right? So we have the delta V requirements. We may not have... Right, if we were flying to Tylo, the problem is we're so far out that the panels may not work efficiently, but it looks like they will work sufficiently efficiently, that they will correctly get us into orbit and everything. Okay, I'm going to fire this. We're going to run spin ore for but a few seconds once I get closer to my... once I get closer to the apoapse here, so we show that we can actually fly this thing into a stable orbit, right? Well, the way to measure the delta V is to say infinite. The real hard problem with scaling this, is the fact that the rate of fuel transfer from the fuel tanks is strongly linked to the size of the tank. So using just stock parts. I've tried to use stock parts here where possible, except for the rotatrons. Okay, we're going to run this, and then when we get into orbit, I can Control C it, right? Periaps is rising. See that? 3, 6, 10. Look at that. That is us transforming from a mere thing falling into something in orbit. And now I can Control C that, and it will go into the correct configuration when I stow it. Beautiful! So let's actually try making a burn to the moon, right? So we're going to need to target this a little more efficiently. Set as target. Set as target. And we're going to stick this here. Add maneuver. Actually, you know what? We could just like totally go hardcore towards the moon here, couldn't we? Oh, what? What were you doing, Scott? Maneuver. Burn, burn, burn. There we go. How fast do we need to go? That's 919. Yeah, and we can... I don't know how we'll correct that. But that's 984 meters per second, and then we'll encounter the moon. That's pretty aggressive. We'll encounter it in 2 hours. Wait, really? Really? Am I going that fast? I must... Oh, I'm already in a slightly eccentric orbit, I guess. That seems really aggressive. Still, whatever. Let me set my thing with respect to the maneuver node. We're just going to rotate into position. And now let me see. I got to figure out how fast my burn will be. It's not switch burns. They're not... I'm not sure what you would call these. They're wobbles. They're wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, inertia wershy, smashy washy, wishy washy, physics wizzics, quantum. I can't think of anything that rhymes with quantum. Quantum leaps. Okay, let's get into position. Let's make this wobble. We're about to wobble our way to the moon. I'm gonna do it. Oh, there's another one up here. Okay, we're lined up. Program is queued. The calculations have been done. We are ready to initiate. Right, watch the delta V indicator once this goes. So I'm gonna have to Control C this when we get close to our delta V thing. Quantum like wonton. Yeah, wonton. Wonton. I thought you. No, wonton is a food, and wonton is a wanton disregard. I don't know what we'll say. Wow, look at this thing. I'm gonna make sure we just do this here. I can't really switch out of this control when I'm doing it. And it's just over 1G. I'm quite impressed by how good this is. These are just 4 ore tanks. And the important thing is that you have to have multiple transfers on each cycle to make sure that we actually transfer it quickly enough, right? Okay. And, oh, Nexustrimian is thanking me for my SpaceX video. Yes, I'm glad that was so well received, because I did most of the art in MS Paint. What? There, Control C. There, and okay, so I got it to within 3 point whatever, and now I push this button, revert back to 0, and it all works like magic. So I'm like, have I got the encounter I wanted? I am. I'm gonna an encounter with the moon. Brilliant. It's brilliant, I tell you. Okay, let's just click here and warp here. Look at us go, flying towards the moon. I shall steal the moon. Nexustrimian? Is that your actual name? Okay, so we're going to point this, reverse this whole thing. I like the way that this looks like a kind of sci-fi ship, what with all these struts and stuff floating around. There's a certain kind of utilitarian beauty to it that many of the more sleek designs certainly do not have. You know what? Quantum leaps can actually be quite big. Let me tell you that. Okay, there we go, and it starts. So now we're just going to bring our apoapsis down, and I need to Control-C this at the appropriate moment. A Gilly drive or a Manly drive. I've heard that it should be called the Manly Inertial Drive or MIG drive, right? We'll call this a MIG drive. I kind of like that. Not that I think that I'm an inventor of this thing, because honestly, a whole bunch of cranks have tried to invent this on Earth and have claimed that it's worked when clearly it hasn't. So this is just the Kerbal version. This is the thing from the video which has been optimized to be even more wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. It's an ultimate implausibility drive. Implaudibility, improbability, I don't know, one or the other. Oh, maybe it's a mid drive. I like MIG. I'm forgetting what the post was, but I like the idea of calling it a MIG drive. Okay, getting close, and Control-C, 35 kilometers. And now we can reset this. See that? Managed to put this sort of thing to within, put this. Have people really said this works? No, of course it doesn't work. I mean, it works in this game, but this game is not any representation of reality. I mean, I thought it was very amusing that somebody said, you should not be doing this in a game, but doing this in real life. And it wasn't clear to me that they realized that this was not actually possible in reality. I mean, I wish it were possible in reality. I get posts like, you scientists shouldn't be spending time working out black holes. You should be trying to solve faster than, light travel. And I'm gonna say, yes, that would be very nice, but completely implausible. Okay, now we got it down to a 40-kilometer orbit. Shall we try landing this thing? Shall we try landing it? I think we shall. What I'm gonna do, though, is I'm gonna wait until I'm around here before I begin the landing process. Warp here. Should also probably pop open the landing gear here. So we're zipping around. I'm not sure this is going to be landable, but I'm going to save it regardless. Ooh, nice. Okay, F5. Reset my drive. Ready to burn. I should totally build an EM drive. What, like the researchers that built an EM drive on their kitchen table? Okay, wait a second. I am going... hold on, I'm going that way. So I actually want to go this way. Wait a second. No, I want to go the other way. Because I want to rotate this thing so I come over the crater. This is the way I want to go. This one here. So let's queue up my code. Select this. Run. You see that? Look, we're coming over the... We're shifting our orbit over the crater. So I'm going to Control-C that at the appropriate moment. There we go. And then reset. The problem is I need to click back and forth out of this thing. Okay, now I'm going to set retrograde. And we'll just stop as we fly over the crater. Warp. And this is where it actually gets really hard. Oh, look, I can be really optimistic and put down my landing gear. Doing this on Minmus is a whole lot easier because Minmus has lower gravity here. Actually, you know what? Here, I'm wondering if something has broken the geometry of the moon because it looks a whole lot nastier than normal. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Let's just do that. Okay. I see the crater! So again, queue up the drive program. So basically I have to run the drive program and then cancel it at the appropriate moment. So I just got to hit Control C when I find myself starting to fall into that crater. One of the other problems with this is the thrust is really non-uniform and there's no way for me to throttle it at this time. So I'm going to find that actually landing safely is incredibly hard. I mean, landing safely on the moon is hard for many people. It's just going to be like I am landing on the moon with no ability to control my vertical speed. Okay. I'm gonna go about... Where shall I go? I'm gonna aim for that spot there. So let's start running this thing again. Run! Oh, crap. So my velocity starts going. So there's a moment, like it takes a few seconds for the drive to warm up after I paused it because the fuel distribution may need to be reset. And I think that is probably going to result in me hitting the surface too hard. Okay. Is the fuel forwards? The fuel is in fact forward, so the drive is hot out of the box. It looks like I'm going to land in roughly the correct location. I'm going to switch to surface, and now... now comes the real trial. I'm going to hit F6. I'm also going to shut down Bandicam here because I've realized it has numbers. This green number here was from my normal screen capture software. I know everybody loves Shadowplay, but Shadowplay doesn't allow me to independently record my microphone and the game audio and other audio sources on separate tracks for mixing later. And Bandicam is the only one that lets me do that. So... there. So you know why I do that all the time. Why I cope with its many other problems. Its many flaws and weaknesses. I will accommodate for that one great advantage. Okay, time. It'd be nice to have time to impact. Surface thrust to weight ratio. 0. That's great. Where's my altitude? You know what? That's I'm missing here is altitude. Now go away. I wish I could bring up MechJeb without bringing up all the other stuff. I'm pretty sure MechJeb has no idea how to land this thing. Okay, so I'm coming down pretty fast. I better start running my thrusters. I'm going to slow my velocity down to, well, small. Something pretty small. There. Oh, we've dropped down to like 20 meters per second. Now reset. And I can't really do the transfer because if I do the transfer myself, then the thing will end up out of sequence. Okay. Where's my time to altitude? Wait a second. Altitude. Oh, 4 kilometer altitude. Okay, so we're doing fine. We're falling towards the surface. I'm going to warm this thing up again. Okay, here. And again, reset at about 30 meters per second. Reset. Queue up. This is going to be really, really hard. Okay, anyone want to place bets on whether I land this thing successfully? I'm going to do a quick save here. Could you edit the KOS program to transfer while not running? I could... Well, the KOS program resets for me automatically, right? And it's supposed to, when it finishes, it transfers the stuff to the correct position, right? The problem is, if the program terminates, if I don't need all the iterations of my program, it will terminate and put everything in the wrong place. So I'm gonna run again. Now. Okay, reset. Roughly the right location. Cue this up. Run and 100 meters. Oh. Oh, crap, I fired my end. I touched down. Damn it. That was a perfect landing. I didn't mean to do that. Stop, come back. Okay, I'm going to turn this thing around and have it thrust back towards the surface. I can't believe I did that. Oh, that was actually pretty hilarious. Okay, come back. We're going to aim back at that surface because that seemed like a good plan. Oh, man. Okay, aim downwards. You know you want to go down there. Control C. Okay, we're gonna do this again. I flubbed that so badly. I mean, I didn't die, which is okay. It is some sort of achievement, but it's not the achievement that I was going for. Man, could you imagine trying to do that on Tylo? So yeah, I think there would be a way to optimize this by, you could probably, you know, if you could adjust the speed of these things, that would actually certainly help, right? Okay, and I think the other thing you would need to do is have at least 4 or even 6 nodes around this thing. Okay, program is queued up. We're now again descending to the surface. And our altitude is 4 kilometers. 3 kilometers. At 2 kilometers, I'm going to kick this thing into gear. It'll take a few seconds to warm up. But once it warms up, we will be ready. We will be doing... I'm not going to fly away. I'm totally going to land this safely on the surface. Okay. Warming up the drive. Ready to control C at the appropriate moment. 5, 4... Okay, there we go. And then reset. Okay, now we're going again. Run. Okay, now we're ready to run this again. And run. Ready to control C. And run. C. Control C. What's our situation? Run. Okay, what's our altitude? 79 meters. Gonna need to run this again. Okay, 36 meters. Might be a bit hard. Stay still, stay standing. Oh, no. Ah! Okay, well that's enough. I've had enough of this silly thing. This is a momentum drive which was working really exceptionally well.